Hello, this is Matt with Take It Outside. Thank you for joining us. Today we're going to do a very special review on the Tomshoo wood burning stove. This is a stove that I used to use. You can see it's been used for many years. And this is a stove that I found out about through Mark Bailey. So I want to give Mark Bailey a shout out. We're going to include a link to his channel below. Be sure to check it out. He did an excellent review. Watching it, there were a couple of things that came to my mind. It says that it's versatile, and we're going to talk about the versatility of this stove today in this episode. So, as always, you know what happens when we receive something. It's time to take it outside. So join it with us. We're going to head outdoors. See you soon. Welcome back. Before I go into the review of the Tomshoo wood burning stove, I want to talk about this stove that I've had for a number of years. And I've had it so long that I can't even remember the name or the brand of this stove. As you can see from all the discoloration, it has been well used over quite a number of years and has held up to the test of time. I really love this stove for the fact of its compatibility and its efficiency. It works really well. There are a couple of drawbacks. One of the drawbacks of the stove is that when it folds up compact, really flat, it does have sharp edges and it can tear into your gear. Not a problem with a little bit of ingenuity. What I did is I took and made a sheath for it, 2 pieces of cardboard and some duct tape for it to slide in and out of, so that solves that problem. Another problem with it is if you're using a small pot like this, stainless steel cup, you're not going to have problem feeding the sticks from the top as well as the bottom. Sometimes down here, as the fire burns and goes on, if you're going to be cooking for a long time, this will actually get full of ash. There is not a ash port. There's no holes in the bottom for the ashes to fall out of. That can be easily remedied by simply, taking the pot off, and if you have a good pair of welding gloves, heavy duty leather gloves, you can shake the ashes out. Don't use caution not to let them scatter in the wind to cause any forest fires or anything like that. But that pretty much solves that problem. But if you use a larger pot, as you can see, it covers up and you can't really feed it too well. Real tiny sticks, you can do that. But larger pieces, for longer cooking periods, you got to remove the pot again to do that. So that's one of the downsides. Again, it's no big deal. You got a pot that has a handle on it, pair of leather gloves or whatever. Pull that off, go ahead and feed it, put your pot back on. And again, it will get clogged up, shake the ashes off, again, by removing the pot, so on and so forth. But one of the advantages of the Tomshoo, sorry, this is not the Tomshoo, this is my fire kit. But one of the advantages of the Tomshoo wood burning stove, which you will see, you don't have to worry about all the juggling around. And we're going to show you that in just a minute. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. This video is going to be a twofer. Normally, I open packages inside and then we take it outside, but this is a special package. You stay tuned to the end of the video and we're going to talk about what's inside. But I thought, since we're going to do the Tomshoo stove, and I'm going to make this a special shout out to MT Woods Runner. I got something special for you in this package I want to share with you. And also a shout out to Lassie's Outdoor Barbecue.
Food and barbecue.
Lassie's Food, Outdoor Food and Barbecue. And we'll put a link to both those channels down there below. And stay tuned because it'll be a special treat for you guys. We'll be right back. So check this out. This is the MSR cooking pot. I believe it's called the Seagull, that we've had in our family for quite a number of years, as you can see by its use. It's been well used. We've had a lot of enjoyment out of it. And it was the same cooking pot, I believe, that Mark Bailey was using in his review of the Tom Shue cooking stove. And that's one of the things that excited me about that. This is the actual cooking stove, as you can see, and it nestles inside of this real tiny pot. How cool is that? So along with the Tom Shue's compactability, they give you a really nice mesh bag, very high quality, and it opens up no problem at all. There's the contents of the whole stove that we're going to go over here in a moment. I actually pulled the knob off of here, but that'll slide right back on, no problem. But anyways, it is just a real plush netting, very thick, and I would say probably, you know, over an 1/8 inch thick, it feels like to me. But one of the things I like about mesh bags, and I'm not going to continue to use this with this stove, but will always go in my bug out bag or my son's, backpack, is that as you're foraging and gathering around for berries or whatnot, you can put your items in here, the food that you gathered, and then easily wash them off. And then go ahead and pour them into a container to prep your food. Just a really great thing, to have as you're traipsing about through the wilderness. And that's kind of an added bonus that I did see, that I did like when Mark Bailey was doing his review, and caught my eye. But there was another feature too that we're going to talk about here in just a little bit. So I went ahead and put the cincher thingy, doohickey, back on there, lack of a better word, and to prevent that from coming off in the future, I'm just going to tie a little bit bigger knot. No problem, problem solved, I should say. And you could even take this off. It really doesn't need to be on there. I've never used them before in the past. And then just, go ahead and tie yourself a quick release knot, and that'll work just as well. That's what we used to do in the old days before they ever came out with these fancy doohickeys that slide up and down and can slide off, get lost. Anyways, we'll be right back. So here's our stove. Comes like that inside the bag, and then we have the fire ring and slash pot holder goes up there, and we also have the little portable stand that nestles down right inside the lip. I really like that, because no matter how you turn it, talking about quick setup, it just nestles right in there, gives you really good stability. And then this is a little added feature that really caught my eye, and again at the end of the video I'll explain to you a dual purpose of this. But for setting it up, here's your ash pan where your tinder is going to sit in, and see it does have the ash release holes there to facilitate a clean burn, keep it from clogging up. Here's your base, which will let the air intake. That, I don't know if you can see in here, but there's a second ring of holes there, and that'll help gasify the wood as the wood burns. This is dual layer. There's 2 layers of stainless steel here, and so the heat will, the air will be superheated, creating a gas flow, and it'll give you a secondary burn, which will be both cleaner and hotter. So you're going to need to use less fuel. The other stove I had did not have that. Sure, it folded flat. Sure, it was compact. Sure, it was lightweight. This is just a little bit heavier, not a lot, pretty light. and it's going to be a lot more efficient, burn a lot cleaner, a lot hotter, and so it's just great all the way around. The way they sell this is if you're burning wood, this will drop in here just like that, nestles all the way down. Again, it's off the ground, so if you're sitting it on a stump like this, or the ground, you don't have to worry about fire or anything like that, within reason, right? Don't be careless. But you're not cooking directly on the ground. Great if you happen to be in snow or ice, like MT Woods Runner. He's always out there in the snow. But you turn it upside down, and it brings the bottom up a bit, so you can pour alcohol in here, or DEET, or whatever kind of fuel you have, and use it to cook just like this. If I can get this on there. Oh, I guess there it is. And that'll sit just like this. And of course, they also give you a really cool grill that goes like that. And you can, grill up some, whatever it is you want to grill up, barbecue. So, really nice feature all the way around. But instead of using this for alcohol, I'm going to show you a different purpose for this. So stay tuned, and we'll be back. We'll include this feature at the end of the video. But stay tuned, we'll be right back. So one of the benefits on our property, we have a whole forest of juniper trees in abundance. And as you can see, there's all kinds of juniper berries growing on the tree, which have a lot of health benefits I'm not going to go into now in this video. But another benefit of the juniper tree, as my son scrolls down a little bit, is that there's the shaggy bark. You can strip off in little pieces. You don't want to strip it all the way down to the trunk of the tree, expose the trunk of the tree. That would damage it. But you can pull off little pieces here and there, and then go ahead and work those into small fibers, which I incorporated into a fire tender bundle in our last video that was titled Steel and Flint Fierce Wind Fire Challenge. So if you get a chance, check out that video. We'll have a link in the box below. But the juniper, they have a tendency of shedding their branches every now and then the course of the year. And so if you live in an arid area, where there's junipers, you can always hunt around at the base of junipers, and you'll find a branch like this. And I've went ahead and took off some of the smaller pieces for our wood burning stove. Another thing I really like about these small wood burning camp stoves is not only for their efficiency, that you can burn a really hot fire using a minimal amount of sticks, is that, and small sticks at that, to produce a hot enough fire to cook with, is that on windy days like today, if you're out and about in the wilderness, it is really, really safe. Your fire is nice and contained. You don't have to worry about things getting out of control or out of hand. You can either cook with this particular top on there, or you can cook with this, use it as a spark arrestor, what have you. But it's very efficient and very safe for cooking in the outdoors in the wilderness. Now that the wood burning stove from Tom Shoe has heated up, as you can see, we're getting a gasification going from the holes in the upper portion of the chamber, and so I can go ahead and I can start adding larger pieces of fuel, and right from the side. Obviously not that one, it had a little bit of a Y on there, but pretty good sized pieces. Just drop them right in there, and those will turn into a nice hot coal. And while that is burning, I'm going to go ahead and open surprise number 1 of 2 for you. And I'll have additional information on this. I actually know what's in this particular package because of the smell. And boy, they packaged that up really, really nice. What we have with us today is something that has been around since the time of the cowboys, dating back, I believe, to about 1860. The Civil War, 1886, somewhere around there. And as you can see, it says the coffee that won the West. And I'm going to read this to you, see if you can get a close-up on that, Clem. It says, during the roundup, a 3 to 5 gallon coffee pot was carried by Cookie on the chuck wagon. He would fill the pot to 2/3 with fresh cold water, set it on the coals or hang it over an open fire to bring the water to a rolling boil. Then Cookie would dump in a pound of ground ariosa. The pot was allowed to slowly boil by the fire's edge for 3 to 5 minutes. It says over 100 years ago, chuck wagons, ranch cooks, shacks, frontier dining rooms were filled with the rich aroma of the Arbuckle's Ariosa coffee brewing over an open fire. And I'm telling you, this coffee smells really, really good. Now, we're not affiliated with Arbuckle's anyway, in any way. We're not getting paid for this review, but it was just something, being a fan of the cowboy era. This is the official coffee that they used way back when. And inside of every bag, and it was packaged just like this, everything is the exact detail of how it was back in the day of the cowboys. But inside of every package, there was a little special treat. And well, I guess I can't find my special treat in this particular bag right now. If I do, I'll post it to the end. Maybe it's because of the type of, because I ordered the campfire grind. But back in the old days, the beans, there were whole beans on the inside. And I forgot I chose this for convenience sake because we're actually going to take this out camping. And, but inside of each bag, back in the olden days, there was a piece of peppermint candy that was in here. And Cookie would select one of the cowhands to grind the coffee, and whoever volunteered his time to turn the grinder and grind the coffee into small grinds, which is what's in this bag already. Then for his labor, he would get the peppermint candy stick. So I thought that was pretty neat. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and fill this into our coffee pot and cook on top of here, bring it to a boil. We'll bring you back in a little bit. So we just filled our coffee pot full of water and set it on the stove. We actually put a timer on there, so we'll let you know exactly how long it takes to boil a full pot of coffee. I'll let you know in the comment section below, just to give you guys an idea. So if you have a group of friends or your family out camping or whatever, just how much water you can go ahead and boil in with this particular wood burning stove from Tom Shoe. Again, we're not affiliated with them. This isn't a commercial. We're not getting paid to do this review, but this is something that we're trying out to see exactly how feasible it is when we go out and camp. You always, like everything else, you want to try and use it, at home before you actually go. So you want your camping experience to be a good one. And so that's the reason why we're testing it with a large capacity like this to see, number one, can we boil a large amount of water for coffee or to make a stew, what have you. So anyway, stay tuned. We'll be right back. We are almost at a rolling boil here, and want to mention to you that when you're working with this kind of a stove, the coffee's starting to smell really good. It got a little bit eager and overstuffed the coal box, and one of the coals came down here, dropped out, and started burning the into the stump here. So even as careful as I tend to be, you always want to make sure that you carry with you your Cowboy anti-sagebrush putter outer, or the Viking anti-flaming dragon extinguisher. Make sure you always have something like that on hand, so if something does go awry, you can put the fire out right away. Be sensible, be smart, be responsible. Stay tuned. So our coffee is ready, it's nice and hot, and I'm just going to let the coals go ahead and burn down a little bit more, and that way they'll be nice and cool. So the wind is gusting pretty good every now and then, and I don't want to take the coffee pot off and let some of those embers blow out of there. And I'll take the coffee pot off, we'll get some water, put some water on those coals, and cool those off completely. But I want to let them burn down first, as well as the implement. I don't want to, this is stainless steel, I don't want to go ahead and just douse it with cold water and cause it to warp. So we want to break this stove in, we don't want to break it. So anyways, we'll bring you back in a few minutes and tell you what we think about this Arbuckle's Ariosa coffee. Stay tuned. So I just had our first sips of the Arbuckle's Ariosa coffee, and I have to say, barefoot, I believe is what they call it, which means no cream, no sugar, just straight black, which is the way I like my coffee anyways. It's absolutely delicious. It is a very high quality coffee. For those of you who are fans of the cowboy era and want to experience true cowboy coffee, cowboy style, make sure to get yourself some Arbuckle's Ariosa coffee. You'll thank me for suggesting such. Please hit the subscribe button and click the like below. Leave us a comment what you think about this video. Oh, and hang on for 1 second. Let me get another sip here of the coffee. I have here a replica of Daniel Boone knife here, and this is actually a scout knife. I don't know if you can pick that up or not, but it says Boy Scouts of America Daniel Boone collection. This knife, even though it's stainless steel, it is, for all points and purposes, an exact replica of the style and shape knife that was carried by Daniel Boone. The actual Daniel Boone knife stays within the Daniel Boone family, and they allowed the Boy Scouts of America to make a replica as a trophy or presentation for those scouts that you know, excelled in knife skills. And I got 2 of these, one for each of my sons who expressed you know, good skills with their knives and being responsible knife handlers. So this is what they were awarded a couple of years back. I got these for them, and they each one have a matching knife. So I wanted to show you this because MT Woods Runner, this is for you. I don't know if you've ever seen one like that or not. Maybe you even have one in your collection, but this is what I started my boys collection on once they passed their quote-unquote knife skills. And I thought you might get a kick out of that, being that you're a Daniel Boone fan, and I am as well. Our whole family is, Davy Crockett in particular as well. but many early frontiersmen, which would include Jedediah Smith and many others. But anyways, take care. God bless. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you soon. This is the Cowboy Viking, Matt, signing off for till we see you again, and take it outside. Why I spray painted this green. Poisonous rattlesnakes, snakes of all kinds.